There we go, now recording.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the meeting of Workington Town Council on Wednesday, the 7th of April. My name is Janet King and I shall be chairing the meeting. Can I please remind councillors to remain on mute until asked to speak to reduce the background noise, and also to enable an orderly meeting, will you please speak through the chair and not over each other. And if there are any councillors without their videos on, is it possible to put them on, please, during the meeting? Public participation. Do we have any items of interest to be brought forward by members of the public?
No, we do have public. We do have 3 members of the public with us today, though.
But there's nothing brought forward.
There's no declarations of interest.
Can you let us have the apologies, please, Catherine?
Yeah, Councillor Sue Fryer has apologised.
Declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of interest relating to matters which appear on this agenda, which have not been previously declared on members' declarations of pecuniary interest and other interest. Are there any declarations?
Not through me.
No. Exclusion of press and public. To consider whether there are any agenda items during consideration of which the press and public should be excluded. Don't think so. Minutes of the previous meeting. We've actually got 2. So to receive the minutes from the 3rd of February and affirm them as a true record. Can I have a proposer and seconder, please? Anyone to propose or second? Councillor Wilkinson propose, and Councillor, can't think of your name, Herbert. Thank you, Briggs, to second. Has everyone agreed that they're a true record, please? Yeah. So receive the minutes from the meeting on 10th of February and affirm them as a true record.
Sorry,
sorry,
Councillor with his hand up. Councillor Heaslip.
Yes, Councillor, sorry.
Madam Mayor, I don't know whether to raise this now, but it doesn't seem to be anywhere else on the agenda.
What's that?
At the last meeting, well, the 3rd of February meeting of the council, we raised the issue of asset transfers from Aldale Borough Council. Right. But there's nothing on tonight's agenda about that. And it doesn't appear to have been considered by the Finance and General Purposes Committee, which would seem to be an obvious alternative place for it to be considered. So I wonder whether the council is actually doing anything about it.
I can answer that if you want to.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we are. I'm just waiting for the reason it's not on is that there's no news. I've had a meeting with Allerdale. I've had a few, and they are considering their perspective really if they want to transfer assets to us and what their offer is going to be, but they haven't come to me with that yet. So the update is I'm waiting for. We've had meetings. I'm just waiting for Allerdale to get back to me to let me know what their position is at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So back to the minutes from the 10th of February. Did we have a proposer and a seconder for that, please?
Move them.
Sorry,
okay.
We've got a hand up.
Councillor Cannon, is that to second it or to have a question?
A question, I think, Janice.
Sorry, it was taking me ages to find my hand to raise. Can I just ask about that set of minutes? I think as a matter of good practice, it would be good to actually put a little bit more in about the precept that we've set. And if memory serves me right, I had very clearly said there's a difference between a precept and a budget. And I was told and kept being told that it was setting a 0% council tax. But the council tax bill I have in front of me says that there was a council tax rise against Workington Town Council.
Could I?
Has that made a mistake? Does that
mean sorry, with the increase was it was 0 for us. We put in that there was an increase as in a monetary increase, but there was no percentage increase that we sent to Allerdale. What percentage should it say on your thing there?
It's not true. My
What does it
council
say on
tax
it?
very clearly says 0.5.
Well, the one that we sent to them, because I have had a discussion with Aladale about it.
We kept saying that there was an issue with the budget, and I said there's a difference between a precept and a budget.
Yeah, I know that.
You have, everybody in Workington will have had their council tax bills, and it says there has been a slight increase. Now, I think that's a mistake.
Because I worked it out with them.
Well, the thing is, we did keep telling you that you were making a mistake as a council. It's not your fault. This is about the council that made this mistake. It appears that you made an increase in the council tax and you kept saying you weren't. And you're still saying, hang on.
Barbara, there is a mistake, but we didn't make, honestly, I worked this through with Aladale and said to them, this is what we wanted. And that's the number that we came to.
So shall I just contact Aladale and tell them they've made a mistake?
Well, I'll do it if you want me to. I'm happy to go back to them.
Well, you'll have to do it for the whole of Workington.
That's okay.
Thank you. Councillor Heaslip.
I might be able to help.
Yeah.
The calculation of council tax is made by dividing the amount that the council is precepting by the council tax base. And I'm afraid F&GP can't do the sums. They got the sums wrong. So therefore, because F&GP couldn't do the sums right, the figure they set as a precept resulted in a 0.5% increase in the council tax. And we told you at the last meeting on the 10th of February that you got your sums wrong. But no one from F&GP would listen. So the result is a 0.5% increase in council tax. You've done it.
Can you explain it then, please, Councillor Heaslip?
Well, okay, I'll try to.
Go on then.
Can I just say, I think the people who are working were quite happy with what the council tax increase was. Can we move on to the agenda item, please?
Yes.
Well, okay, as long as we'd agreed that the council resolved on the 10th of February to increase the council tax, because it set a precept which resulted in an automatic increase in the council tax, and that's simply a matter of arithmetic. You divide one figure by the other and you end up with a council tax figure. And if you got your sums wrong, you got your sums wrong. We did tell you.
What's that noise?
Sorry, Catherine.
Councillor,
it's okay. I'll
put it on silent, please.
Who's speaking?
No, it's okay.
Me, Madam Chair, it's Councillor Heaslip's mobile phone.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, Catherine.
No, it's okay. We'll move on. I'll go back and look after that over that, Lisa.
Okay, thank you. Right, try again. The minutes from 10th of February. Can I have a proposer and seconder, please?
Move them, Janet. Council,
Thank you. Councillor Briggs. Thank you. And we is everyone in agreement? Yes, thank you. There are no mayoral announcements because nothing's happened.
Excuse me, Councillor King, Councillor Muscali's got his hand up.
Yes, Councillor.
Yeah, I was approached by a couple of my constituents and I had a word with some of my fellow councillors, and there's a suggestion.
Excuse me, is this to do with the agenda?
Yes, it's to do with the mayoral announcements. Please allow me. Thank you. You haven't had any mayoral announcements because of the pandemic, and we're concerned about your charities suffering because of it. So the suggestion is, last year it was decided by a majority vote that the committees would stop the same and you would stop as the mayor. Right. You've received 2 years allowances for the mayor. You're the only councillor on Workington Town Council to get it. It is suggested, and I suggested, that you put one of those years' allowances into your charity because you've been nowhere, so you didn't need it. Thank you.
Thank you for your suggestion. Right, next agenda item is 6. Motion from Councillor Miss Kelly. Would you like to propose your motion, Councillor?
Yeah, thank you. Right. Are we all, before I propose it, do you want to explain how it works? So there's no confusion this time, because at the last notice of motion, there was a little bit of furore. So would the town clerk like to go through the procedure, or would you like me to carry on?
Which one are you talking about? If you're talking about the one that was amended, hopefully there won't be an amendment. So if it's straightforward, I might be able to manage it. So would you just like to read your motion, please?
As you wish, yeah. To ease the ability of the public to attend the meetings of Workington Town Council with the intention of them observing their council and particularly their elected representatives at work, it is proposed that Workington Town Council shall, with immediate effect, adopt the policy of streaming live all meetings of this council, inclusive of all committee meetings and extraordinary meetings of all types. This notion of motion would be permanent and would continue after COVID-19 restrictions are eased and are lifted, with the intention of the public viewing transparent democracy at work. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder? Is there a seconder for this motion? Councillor Cannon. We'll go to the debate. Councillors can only speak once on the motion. Can I have some hands, please? Does anyone wish to speak on it?
Councillor Paul Scott.
Councillor Scott. Sorry, I can't see everybody on here.
Can I just clarify that the motion is even when we go back to actual meeting, physical meeting, you would like them broadcast live? Am I correct in that?
Yeah, that's what it says. It's written down. Continues.
And on that subject, I don't believe Allerdale Council actually screen live meetings, to be fair. And I think we would need to look at IT, what's required to do that. That's just my thoughts on this.
Councillor Wilkinson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As Councillor Scott has just said, we are a parish council. We're not even a borough council. Allerdale Borough Council does not live stream their meetings when there is full meetings, face-to-face meetings. We're about to come out of lockdown, and I believe for us to do this, this would cost quite a considerable amount of money, take quite a considerable amount of time, because our staff have not been educated with this. There would be training needed done. By the time the training is done, I believe we're back out of lockdown, and I think this is a no-go. Why should a small parish council like Workington Town Council spend this money willy-nilly of taxpayers' money when it's unnecessary? This is just a vanity project in my eyes.
Councillor Heaslip and then Councillor Rollo.
Just as a point of information, Chair, I am a chair of one of the Allerdale Council committees. I also make a habit of observing other Allerdale Council committees, Planning Committee, Executive Council, Audit Committee, Overview and Scrutiny Committee, and every single one of them is actually screened live. I just offer that as a point of information because it's been suggested that they're not all screened live, but every meeting of Allerdale Borough Council, which the public is entitled to attend and watch, is actually screened live. So you can't use Allerdale Borough Council to get out of this. You'll need another explanation, because quoting Allerdale Borough Council, in fact, in this case, is simply not true. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Am I allowed to come in here? I did have my hand up. I've just got a comment to make, please. I have no objection to it in principle, but I don't agree with the need for every committee meeting to be live streamed, because we've already got the facility for people to attend via Zoom. So the transparency is there if people wish to take advantage of it. And the recordings are uploaded in their entirety to YouTube after the meeting's end. If the council had received many requests from the public for this option, then we would consider it further, but as far as I'm aware, we haven't received any. We're also about to have COVID restrictions lifted, which means a return to physical meetings, with a strong possibility that we might be able to have hybrid meetings. Well, if we do go to physical meetings, I can see that presenting a huge problem to actually get everybody on, and a hybrid would even be more difficult. And I can see that being extremely costly to live stream. So for that reason, I won't support this motion until we're in a better position to know how we can proceed with meetings as the restrictions are lifted. So thank you for that. I think it was Councillor Rollo next.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to say that I do support this, and I think what COVID has shown us is that, you know, we do have the ability now to do more. I think we do need to be a more open and transparent council. The meetings at the moment are not uploaded for a few weeks on some occasions. So, you know, it would be a little bit better for some of the members of the public. And I think going on Councillor Scott's comment, I mean, I know that, you know, most of you probably would be in favour if we do end up having hybrid meetings, but would anybody like to make an amendment on this this motion?
Councillor Cannon's next.
Councillor Cannon.
Listening to this debate with interest, I did actually look into how much it would cost for YouTube to live stream. And I discovered that for a lot of organisations, it's actually free, if not cheap. So let's not put cost in as a means of stopping a proper debate. It wouldn't cost. As for suggesting that our staff haven't been trained, to be frank, during this pandemic, the world changed, didn't it? We never used to have meetings like this, for example. So we've all had to learn how to do Zooms and rooms and what's the other one? Teams. Right? We've all had to learn, even our staff. So I don't think we should insult them by suggesting they need training. Nor should we insult ourselves by suggesting that we can't do it. The Allerdale Council does live stream. I watched the last farce of a full council meeting from this very room, live as it happened. So obviously it does get live streamed, unless Councillor Scott thinks that live stream means something else. I don't know. But I actually would like to ask you this question. The world has changed, and you're clutching to this idea that once restrictions are over. I actually think the world has changed dramatically, and I think it's changed permanently. And also, if you really truly want to be an open and transparent council, we should use every facility that we have to make sure that the public, if they wish, can zoom in and watch what we do. And I think if you don't want to do that, I would then start asking, why not? What's your problem? Because that's what the public will say. What's your problem? I think we should consider it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether hybrids will work. I think that's going to cause too much difficulty, frankly. But I actually think live streaming for the public is a thing, and we should try it. and I don't think we should have anything to worry about. We might have to, as councillors, learn to keep our mute button on when we're not speaking, so we're not interrupting the screening. We might have to learn to put our cameras on so that people can see who's there. It's a protocol, but I actually think that it's wrong to say no, because, and don't ever say we're just a parish council, because this town council for the last 20, 30 years has tried to punch above its weight as a larger town council. It has taken its place on one occasion as a member of the National Association of Local Councils. We actually had a member sit on that council. So let's raise the game a bit and show other town councils that we are still in the game.
Thank you.
Councillor King, you've got Councillor Scott, Councillor Dixon, and then Councillor Sansom.
I did say councillors could only speak once.
Can I have a right to reply, Madam Mayor?
Yes, you can.
It was just my name has been mentioned a couple of times there, and I just want to clarify something, and maybe Councillor Heaslip can clarify with me.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem to these virtual meetings being broadcast live. We do them in Allerdale. We certainly do them within the County Council on the Health and Scrutiny Committee. I have no problems with that. I made it absolutely clear that Allerdale Council do not screen live physical meetings, because obviously on the physical meetings you would need a camera, you would need microphones, etc. to pick that up, and that was my point. My point is, for us to feed physical meetings live onto YouTube, we would need to purchase additional kit for that, and that I believe is where Councillor Wilkinson come in with the spend. If I'm wrong on that, Councillor Eastleigh, please correct me. Do Allerdale Borough Council screen physical meetings to the internet live?
They record them, I know that. Whether they actually screen them, I can't remember. It's 12 months or more ago.
Thank you for that. I'm sure the physicals get recorded but do not get shown live.
As do ours. Thank you. Councillor Dixon.
You're still on mute,
You're on
Beth.
mute.
Oh, there you go.
Right. As I say, the thing that restrictions are going to be lifted, we've got no guarantee for that. Even in June, I work with restrictions every day, and it's going to be very hard to get, even with the new Princess Street, to fit a full council.
May I interrupt you? Can everyone else mute, please? So there's some music in the background. It might be yours. But...
Actually mine.
Oh, fair. Sorry, it's okay, Beth. Sorry.
Houseful.
Sorry.
But it's even in the Princess Street to have the full councillors, social distancing plus members of the public. It's going to be really hard. So I think Zoom meetings are going to be here until at least next year, in my opinion. So a live feed, because even from now till June, how many meetings is that? 8, 12 that the public can see live.
Thank you. Councillor Briggs, Herbert Briggs, I think was next.
It's Councillor Sansom, sorry.
All right, has he gone off? Herbert
No, here he is.
Councillor Sansom.
All I want to see is it just sounds like somebody's thought of this and thought, I know what's a good idea. Let's just jump in and join everybody else without actually doing any research on out there. Now, fair enough, you're saying that obviously the world's changed and all this lot. Well, it has changed for everyone. But without researching something and just making a suggestion, doesn't mean that it's going to go through it. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry, Councillor Cannon's still got a hand up. Is that historical or is that a right to reply?
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify something that Councillor Scott had said. I understand what you were saying about the screening, the live screening for the future, but when Allerdale started to record its meetings several years ago, it It simply bought a simple camera. And if you notice, Allerdale House already has, what do they call it, sound system in. Frankly, if you're going to move into a position in the Princess Street where you want a council chamber, you would have to do the same anyway, because we found for years that it was actually quite difficult in all sorts of church halls to be heard, even hearing each other. But this isn't a case of people just thinking, oh, this is a good idea. The fact of the matter is the world now has different expectations, and we should embrace it because it'll happen one way or the other. Stop being terrified and let's have a modern council and let the public, if they wish, see our meetings. And you can shake your respective heads. The reality is you're scared, or maybe you just think it'll be a bad thing that people can see what you're saying. But what I say to you respectfully, all of you, is give this some consideration. I have, when I saw the notice of motion from Billy, I looked into the cost of it. I have considered, well, it would need a camera. It's no big deal. It is not a big deal. But if you truly believe in representing the people you serve, if you truly, well, you can laugh, but I'm telling you, if you truly believe that, and if you truly believe you're a transparent council, put it online and we'll see what people think then.
Can I point out that everything we do goes online?
Eventually.
It isn't, nothing is edited. Unlike some of Allerdale's, which have had to be edited because of things that have been said by certain councillors, we've had nothing like that on this council, and we're not going to have it.
Janet,
Point of order.
can you please not interrupt folk like that? But can I just say to you,
can we please go on to Councillor Wilkinson?
It is weeks.
Can you mute?
Point of order.
Weeks. You wait.
Councillor Wilkinson, please.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Councillor Cannon's already had her one opportunity to speak on this issue. She's now took up another 5 minutes on a second verbal, now I consider attack. Can we just stick to the rules, please? One reply per person.
Thank you.
Councillor Glaister's got his hands up, please.
Sorry, who has?
Councillor Glaister.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Glaister.
Right, why don't we just take a vote on it instead of all this nonsense?
Well, if Councillor Herbert Briggs.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've only been waiting for the last 10 minutes.
I did say your name, but I couldn't.
I know, and then you went to Blaine. I know. I'm sitting here listening to all this, and it's you're scared, you're frightened. If this had been done a couple of years ago, what a shame you didn't think about it, because I might not be in the position I'm in now, because I might have known what was being done by the Labour run town executive at the time. So yeah, I agree with everything that has been said, and I agree with Jed, and we should just move on to the vote. I think there's maybe only about 2 councillors that haven't had the say, so I think we should just move on to the vote.
Yes, can we? I think that's the end of the debate then. Can we move on to the vote, please?
If I call your name out, can you tell me if you've...
Point of order, please, and right to reply. Thank you.
So sorry, yes, you have got your right to reply. Sorry, right. Councillor Miss Kelly.
Right. Firstly, let's quit this. We're not Allerdale Borough Council. We're not Allerdale Borough Council. We're Workington Town Council. We're a proud town council. Right. We don't do what Allerdale does. Allerdale doesn't do what we do. We don't copy anyone. We're a groundbreaker. As for cost, it's either free or very limited. A camera doesn't cost that much. Right. No one that has said this has done their own work before saying it costs a lot of money. It doesn't. So we'll forget that. Up and down the country, parish and town councils are live. People appreciate it. Council associations are pressing for it to continue live. The world's changed. And as for, I will mention Allerdale in once, because I was on Allerdale a lot longer than Paul Scott, Will Wilkinson. Right. When they started recording, there was none of this Zoom. So we don't even include that. It's a different story. So that's all. I've had my right reply. We'll go for the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we go to the vote, please?
Yeah, if I call your name out, can you just tell me if you're for or against the motion, please? And I'll just read out the motion, just so we're all clear what you're voting for. You are voting to accept the policy of screening live all meetings of this council, inclusive of all committee meetings and extraordinary meetings of all types. The notion will be permanent and will continue after COVID-19 restrictions are eased or lifted. Okay, so Carol Armstrong.
In this instance, against.
Mary Bainbridge.
For.
Herbert Briggs.
Councillor Herbert Briggs, against.
Ryan Briggs.
Councillor Ryan Briggs, against.
Barbara Cannon.
Councillor Barbara Cannon, for.
Beth Dixon.
Councillor Dixon, for.
Okay. David Farrer. Sorry, you've got your... There you go. For. Okay, thank you for that. Jed Glaister.
Against.
Hilary Harrington.
Councillor Hilary Harrington, against.
Michael Heaslip.
Michael Heaslip, for.
John Hunter.
Against.
Councillor Janet King.
Councillor King, against.
Sean Melton.
For.
For. Okay. Councillor Muscally.
For.
Oh, okay, I thought so. Denise Rollo. Councillor Denise Rollo.
Yeah, for.
Okay, thank you. Blaine Sampson.
Against.
Okay. Paul Scott.
In its present format, against.
Stephen Stoddart.
Against.
Will Wilkinson.
Against.
Linda Williams.
Against.
Okay, thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You've got against 12 and for 8. So the motion's been objected to.
Thank you. Reports from committees. Item 7, Finance and General Purposes Committee. Council to receive the minutes of 25th of March 2021. Councillor Scott, please, and do we have a seconder?
Sorry, Madam Chair, I think Councillor Stoddart would have to propose those because I wasn't there at that particular meeting.
Oh, right, sorry. Councillor.
Yes, I'll propose those minutes, Janet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Councillor Glacier second them.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions on that meeting? Councillor Heaslip. Councillor Heaslip.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, I'm just finding my unmute switch. Can I ask a question of whoever was chair on the minute is FG 2120 Princess Street building update. And that's another question, basically asking the same issue about 2121 in both cases. It's not immediately clear from reading the minute where exactly we're up to with this. It says in 2120 4 companies were approached with only 2 quotes were received, and now been separated out into individual jobs to ensure it's cost effective. Does that mean that the council's going out to tender again on the basis of it having been separated out into individual jobs? And in 21-21, it says the works for the roofing put out to tender and 2 quotes have been received to date, but it doesn't say what we're doing with those quotes, whether they've been considered, accepted, rejected, or what. So can we have an update, please, on 21-20 and 21-21 as to exactly where we are with quotes?
Who's going to reply on that?
Well,
Councillor King,
sorry, go on. Sorry.
Go on, Paul, carry on with it.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to explain where we are with it, if that's fine. Basically, where we are now is there was a tender went out, and the tender went out for a list of jobs to be done. Some companies chose to manage the project and put a job in for the project. Other companies who applied looked at only their specific areas. And on those grounds now we have a group of companies that have come in with different quotes that we need to do a sift on to look at what best options are available. I've discussed with Catherine, and I think we probably need to open up the tender process to ensure those 4 companies who put in a major job can then go back and cost individually, yes, if they choose to.
Thank you. Is that the same position with 21-21, the old man shelter?
The old man shelter, no, the old man shelter was done for just a roof only. So that was costing us for purely just a roof. There was only one, I think it was 2 applicants, was it, Catherine, was it 2 or 3 come in for a bid on that one there. And I believe that we can move forward on that one now. Gen 2 have confirmed as part of their training package, they would like to look at the old man shelter and do the electrical work in that old man shelter, and it'll be done free of charge to the council. So I would like to thank publicly Gen 2 for that information and that offer, really.
Yeah, it was 2.
That's very good at Gen 2. Excellent. As far as the roof for the old man shelter is concerned, there was what, one tender. Have you accepted the tender? And is there a contract been let?
Not as yet. No, nothing has been done as yet. The bids have come in. We're doing the sift, and we'll go through and make sure at that point then that this council is brought up to date with all the information. I would also like to point out there is a local firm, West Coast Thermal, who again went out of the way and done an asbestos survey free of charge on that particular building with no charge. So I would just like to say thank you to West Coast Thermal for their offer and the completion of that free of charge.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, Councillor Rollo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just 3 things to look at here. Without a schedule of works, how did we come up with the list of jobs? Was it contractors that went in to say what needed done? Because I know, as in the construction trade myself, if you go in and price up a job, you're gonna, price it up as if you win it. The other thing is it's brilliant what Gen 2 are doing, but who's insuring the work? So the work that they do, whose insurance is it under? And the third thing was in the minutes 21 to 22, employment issues. We've obviously had a discussion, but we've got nothing back about that discussion. Thank you. Somebody could come back with me on that, please.
On Gen 2, while they're on site, they will complete the work. We'll provide a risk assessment for them. It'll be on their insurance. They are then going to secure a sign-off on that property, electrical sign-off certificate for that property for us. So that would then be completed and fall under our insurance. Sorry, Denise, I forgot what your first question was.
Yeah.
I do. Sorry, I do recall. Sorry for interrupting. My mind went blank there. the work we had, we did have a visit and we did look at chartered surveyor to go around the building and look at the work. Unfortunately, the cost of that chartered surveyor was extensive, to say the least. So we walked around and we talked about what needed to be done. Obviously, the electrical certificates and the gas certificates, there's a law, there's a standard we have to apply to, and that standard is in that quote that they've applied for. With regards to all the other work is what we've seen at that time that we would need to function correctly as a council within that building.
Councillor Cannon.
Cannon's next.
Sorry. The third thing about the employment issues. Is there a response on that?
Apologies, I wasn't at that meeting, so I can't answer that question.
Do you want me to answer that? There wasn't any on that issue. We just put it on as an agenda item, as a regular agenda item, should any issues actually come up. But for that, on that particular one, there wasn't. Okay, Councillor Cannon's next.
Can I just ask a question about the process? How do you evaluate tenders as they come in? If you've got 2 or 3 companies bidding for the same work, what evaluation criteria have you in place? Is it on, for example, usually you have before you start looking at who's the best, you decide, is it about quality? Is it about cost, value for money, those kind of things? How are we doing that?
There was a There was a schedule of works published on our website of what was required. Then as companies have come in, they have put their things forward, their quotes forward. The sift, as I call it, is when we'll go through those and assess materials, quality, labour, etc. And we would then present that back to this council for approval.
Right, I get that, but there's usually a scoring mechanism that you put in place. You know what I mean? Because they do it in every single council where because you've got to be able to justify to the folk who don't get the contract how you came up with the process, so you're not accused of anything. But so have you got a process in place? And there was another question. And Paul, I think you said it before, something about you would provide a risk assessment for someone. Can I just ask a serious question this now? Do we have the qualifications amongst our staff to do that kind of risk assessment?
If I can just say, yes, we do have that qualification within our team to do that risk assessment, and that will be done with the teachers of Gen 2 on site prior to them starting on site. So I think it's important that they're obviously driving this, and obviously we do have the skill to do it. The mechanism is driven purely upon cost and efficiency, and to ensure that all materials used fall within the category allowed to be used and the best value for price.
Can I just clarify, when you said the team, you're talking about the staff we have, the States team, where you have people who can risk assess electrical stuff?
I'm talking about the team as in the council employee team, as in
the States team.
Catherine. Catherine.
Can she confirm that she's qualified to do that?
The electrics, I wouldn't do the risk assessments because an electrician would do that. I can do the general risk assessments because I'm NEBOSH qualified.
I think the risk assessment we talked about was for the roof. With
I'm NEBOSH qualified. I can do that. Yeah.
Councillor Farrer.
Oh, hello, Madam Chair. I'm a bit confused, which is normal state of affairs. There's an attachment to the minutes, which relates to Workington Town Council, full council of 5th of February 2020. I'm trying to understand why they've been included within the minutes.
Sorry, what's that?
Sorry, just let me have a look at that.
Sorry, could you repeat that, please, Councillor?
With the minutes of this meeting, there's an attachment which is entitled Workington Town Council, full council, 5th of February 2020. proposed budget
2020.
2020,
Oh,
proposed budgets, and I'm wondering why you've included those within this bundle.
Sorry, just let me.
As it's over a year ago.
I don't seem to have those.
I can show you my screen if you like.
I'm sorry, I'm not doubting you, but I'm not sure. Did that come with all the other papers?
And that came with the papers for the minutes of the meeting of the Finance and General Purpose meeting from the 25th of March. There's 1-2 page of minutes, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of budgets. I'm trying to understand why they've been included.
Can I come in there, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I think it's an error on because Emma sent them out, David. And I think she's just making sure we've got all the information we need. But Emma was the one who put it together and sent all this out because I think Catherine wasn't well at the time.
Yeah, sorry, Emma had to fill in for me last week. And
Yes.
I've got labyrinthitis, and I was absolutely out the count last week. So unfortunately, poor Emma had to step in for me. So if there are any films that shouldn't have been sent out, I do apologise.
I think she's just covering all the bases.
Yeah, God love her.
Sorry, does that answer your question?
That does. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
And Councillor Miskelly has got his hand up.
Thank you. Councillor?
Yeah, I'm just a little bit confused for us. At the meeting of the Finance and General Purposes Committee, which I attended, when it come to the agenda item for employment issues, I was asked, I had to leave. So if there was no to discuss, why did I have to leave? Just a little point.
Can't recall what that was, but Catherine, could you look into that? And
yeah, I think it was. Oh, sorry, Herbert's got his hand up. Do you know why, Herbert?
We can't discuss that at this meeting, obviously, but if you could let councillors know what it was.
It was Madam Mayor, it was raised up as employment issues, and it was suggested that Councillor Miskelly left, and he left rather rapidly because the clerk then came back and said there was no reason for him to leave because there is no employment
Yeah,
issues.
I thought because there was no issues that were brought up. Okay.
So can we go on to the planning committee then, please? Item 8. We've got 2 sets of minutes. We've got 1st of February. So Councillor Sansom, can you?
I would like to propose the minutes of the planning committee for the 1st of February 2021.
You've got a hand up, Councillor King. You've got Councillor Rollo.
Sorry, Councillor
Rollo's got raised a hand.
Can we have? Are you seconding this before, or is this question? Can we have a seconder first?
I'll second it.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, Councillor Rollo.
Yeah, it's just an observation. 19.62, the consultation on the Steinbound housing development. The proposed street names, Lakeland View is on one of them. And was nothing discussed about that because we've actually already got a Lakeland View in Workington. Will that not be a little bit confusing? Although we probably do have streets with, you know, two streets the same name. But that's just an observation.
I think again they were names that were put forward presumably by the builders. We didn't object because again there's Briarydale Lane and there's Briarydale in Salterbeck. So we
Yeah,
will
but this
get
is,
you-
it's Lakeland View, and Lakeland View is in Muir Close as well. It's just it's exactly the same.
Well, again, it's at the end of the day, it's down to Allerdale, not to us. So, but thanks. Councillor Heaslip.
Thank you, Mayor. Can we make a plea from the council to housing developers to actually have a bit of imagination when they're taking up names? I mean, Lakeland View. I mean, who would
Where
ever
the
have thought
lake
of that? It's they've not exactly broken new ground there, have they?
It
I
might
don't
add
know where
10
the lake is.
Sorry, I was just going to say it might add 10,000 to the price, Mike.
Well, maybe.
So if we're all in agreement with those minutes, there's another set for the 1st of March. Can we have a seconder for that, please?
I'll second them, Janet.
Thank you.
Sorry, Councillor Grace, they got in there as well.
Right. Are they all? Is everyone in agreement with those? That's fine. So number 9, Environment Committee, received the minutes of the Environment Committee on 11th of March. Councillor Harrington.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I present the minutes of the meetings there on that one. Like any questions on it, please?
Sorry, do we have a seconder for those, please? Councillor Wilkinson, are you seconding?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Rollo. Sorry.
Yeah, like it's always me first. 19.122 bus shelters. It was sent to an EGM, but we haven't got minutes for that. We haven't been presented any minutes from that meeting, and I haven't had any word back about the meeting. And the information that I did put forward, I've not had anything back about that information. So was that information used in the meeting, or were the previous conversations with the community totally disregarded? I just want to have a bit of feedback from that, please.
Yes, I'm sure you do. Yes, I'm sure you do, Councillor Rollo, on that one. I have the minutes in front of me of the extraordinary meeting held on the 26th of March by Zoom meeting, and I did download them off my laptop. So did you not receive these from the town clerk?
No.
Oh dear. Can you verify if that they were sent out there, Catherine, please?
And these were sent out with these minutes.
Yes,
so I don't know if Emma's put them in. I assume she had, but if you haven't got them, then I'm happy to send them to you. The video is up on YouTube as well, if you wanted to look at the conversation that took place.
Yeah, but I haven't got the minutes, so I don't know.
Send to you now, Denise. I thought they'd been sent out.
Did anybody else get them?
I can send them to you if you want them now.
I must admit I haven't got them with my set of minutes here, so it may be that I've overlooked them. But
okay. So can I just read it out? Well, all council, if you didn't receive them, funny enough, I did, but I think these were sent by Amy, if I remember rightly, because Catherine was off ill. So I'll read through because they're quite short. I'll read through them there on that one. So your question was the information used? Yes, we do verify that £500 was paid by Salterbeck Resident Association towards the bush shelter. Finding the 5,000 from Allerdale, there's no paper trail for this at all. So we've had to leave the things aside, but we have agreed to go forward with purchasing the bush shelters, and we can look for the £5,000 later on. It'll be a great bonus if it is there for us, but if it's not, nevertheless, we are going to purchase the bush shelters. And you would have received notification of which bush shelters we'd chosen.
I did receive the paperwork with three different designs, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know what the outcome was of the meeting.
Well, the outcome was of that. I've got them to hand. As I say, it was the second quote that we took over. The first quote was rather expensive. It was £7,000-8,000. We couldn't afford that, so we chose the second one. Bush Shelters Limited, I think they're calling there on that one. And both bush shelters are similar. They are the same as the ones down at Morrison's car park, adjacent to the car park. I quite like them actually. And I know you did state in an email to me that you would like to have the back filled in because it's facing a brick wall. And that's no problem at all. We can really adjust to that, have that for you. So I think that's covered what your questions, has it not, Councillor Rolo?
Yeah, just a second, my phone's just going off. Yeah, it's just that the bush shelter is half the size. That's, I mean, I think the original bush shelter was a direct replacement to the same one. So just to clarify that it is half the size of the one that's there now.
I don't think it's half the size. The sizes are there, as I said, they are in the details that were sent out to everyone, actually, Councillor Rolo. So you should have received all sizes. And it is the same size as the ones down on near Morrison's there on that one. And as I say, it's adequate. And we have decided if we do and put any further bus shelters up, they'll all be of the same style and size. This bus shelter belongs to Allerdale. It does not belong to Workington Town Council that we're talking about now.
Yeah, I think obviously the original discussion was that Allerdale were to give us the money towards it so that we could take it on as an asset.
But as I said to you before, Councillor Rolo there on that one, we have no paper chase for this at all.
But you did, but
for the £5,000, there is no paper chase that they have agreed to do that anywhere at all. But they have come to, as I say, an agreement with Allerdale Borough Council. If things go ahead, we're waiting for other things to happen before they can really be purchased, these bush shelters. We do need an agreement with the highways as well regarding the size and the design of the bush shelter.
I'm a bit concerned there's no paper trail, because in the minutes of the meeting in July, to which where you were the chair, it does actually say in there. So I'm a little bit concerned that things change.
Chair on that one, and if we're trying to lay blame on what's gone on over the time there on that one, you must remember what has happened over these last 2 years have been quite phenomenal with the pandemic and various things that happened. And as I say, I'm not sitting here to take blame anywhere or give blame out to anyone. Is to move on with this situation now and get those bush shelters up and running so the people and the residents can enjoy being protected from the weather. And I've said all I'm going to say on that issue, unless you've got another separate question, Councillor Rolo.
Okay. Councillor Scott.
Sorry, yeah, I wasn't present at that meeting, so I apologise for missing that meeting. Unfortunately, I was busy. But I'm just clarifying that what you said there. This is an Allerdale Borough Council asset that they were supposed to be paying us £5,000 to put a new bus shelter there, so as we then take ownership of it. Is that what we're actually saying? Because if that's what we're saying, Catherine, we really need to chess up that £5,000 of Allerdale Borough Council.
I'm in the process of doing that. In fact, I've had calls in and emails into Allerdale. I'm just waiting for replies back.
Thank you.
So I was looking to find out where if we had something in the office that specifically said you've got this, but we didn't. So I put a call into Chris. I haven't replied heard back from him yet, and I put a call into the guy at Allerdale, and I'm waiting for him to come back to me, so that we can discuss that. But as I say, that's why that's ongoing, but it's already in motion.
I mean, my assumption would.
Madam Mayor, please.
Sorry.
Can I come back in, Madam Mayor? Yes. The issue of the £5,000, we've taken time and effort to find out what really happened on that one. There's no problem with that. But as I stated before, it's a bonus if the £5,000 is going to be given by Allerdale. But at the moment in time, we're carrying on now as status quo. And as I say, we'll get that £5,000 back and go for another bush shelter. So I'm quite happy about the situation. We will track it down, or we'll just leave it as it is. As I say, I hope we do find the 5,000 actually, because it's a bonus, as I say, for Workington Town Council. So thank you, Councillor Rolo. Is there anything else you'd like to ask me?
Sorry, it was me that asked you that, Madam Mayor.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Hilary. Just to clarify, we aren't looking for £5,000. Allerdale Borough Council have pledged that money and we haven't received it. So therefore, we need to approach Allerdale to get that money.
But
yeah, thank you.
It's not holding up the purchase of bush shelters, though. It's a bonus if it does.
No. I'm just clarifying. We're not looking for £5,000. The money's been pledged and we haven't received it.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's well put. Thank you very much, Councillor Scott. Thank you.
Did Councillor Briggs have a question? Herbert?
No, it's okay. Paul answered it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. No more questions.
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Heaslip.
Just on a, I think it might be point of order. Maybe not. Doesn't matter. I'm going to say it anyway. We've been asked to approve the minutes of a meeting of the Environment Committee, but actually we haven't got any minutes of that meeting of the Environment Committee.
Yes, we have.
No one can point to them.
We have got that one. It's the extraordinary one that we haven't got the minutes of.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The one on, when is it, the 26th of March?
Okay.
The one that you've just been talking about, the one about the bush shelters.
Right.
We can't receive minutes that we haven't got.
But can I just reply here, Mayor, please?
Please,
I have just stated I downloaded these from my laptop, and if I can download them, there should be somewhere in your emails for you to download them. And I do believe Amy's seen to this one. So if you rather look under Amy and then look for Catherine to find information, you will find these documents.
Well, I've looked. I've got the papers for the meeting, the agenda that was sent out, and the information on the options for consideration. But I don't have, and I understand other people don't have, the actual conclusions of the meeting, which was the point Councillor Rollo was making. We haven't got any printed minutes that tell us what was decided, so we can't receive them.
We keep repeating the same thing. I asked this question to Councillor Rollo, and you've repeated it now, Councillor Heaslip. As I've stated, for some reason, if you haven't received these minutes, that I wasn't to know that I managed to get them okay, so I had no reason to inquire why nobody had received them. So basically, you need to look into that system, what's happening. They could have gone into a different, whatever, a different box. For all
they have gone out. They have gone out to all councillors now.
They were sent out. Yes, they were sent out to all councillors.
When? When? Because I haven't got them.
Councillor King, can I just come in there? I don't know whether they were sent out or not. I mean, obviously some of you have got them, so I don't know what's happened there, because obviously I was poorly when these minutes went out. I've just sent everybody them. If you don't want to, if you feel that you haven't got them, that you haven't had time to look at them, if whatever, then you just need to let us know.
Can I suggest, I must admit I haven't got a copy either. So if we can just approve the previous minutes and then maybe bring the others forward to the next meeting to approve, having discussed them here. Is everyone okay with that?
Right.
Yeah.
Catherine, would you like to read out the minutes from the EGM regarding the bush shelters, please? Have you got it?
We're gonna forward them to the next meeting, because obviously if everybody hasn't got a proper copy, then they're going to need time to do that. Even if we read them out, that wouldn't give people sufficient time to agree them.
As long as it's not going to hold a procedure of purchasing.
No, it won't. It's okay.
It is fine by me. I'll agree to that. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Cannon's next.
Can I just say, Councillor Harrington, that as a chair of a committee, I would expect you to get your set first. So that's why you've had a set of those minutes. That's a perfectly reasonable thing. You can't just send a set of minutes out in the middle of a meeting either. I do need to just point out, if the council doesn't just receive the minutes, it approves them. Because there isn't delegated decision making just to a committee like that. Yep. So until you can't actually progress until this council eventually approves, and I think that's something that you need to take into account. I have said it before that there ought to be some kind of checklist in the main office somewhere where people check off every single committee, etc., and ensure that things are sent out. And it's not the job for councillors to do. It is a process job. I would expect every chair to have seen that and approved their minutes before they're even sent out. And I noted that the mayor was doing exactly that about some minutes recently. But I do think we need to have assurance that there's a set procedure so that we don't get into this mess in the future.
Right, thank you, Councillor Cannon. I agree with you entirely, and we'll have to find a method there to ensure that this does not happen again in any meeting.
Councillor Wilkinson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's a quick, easy solution to this. A 5-minute recess to read these papers, then we can continue with this meeting. All these notes can be passed. That's the simple solution. Obviously, there's been a clerical error. There's quite a bit of picking on staff here that I can see because of clerical errors. And I think it's downright disgusting. So I think the easy solution to this is a 5-minute recess while everyone reads the papers, come back in 5 minutes, vote on them. Job jobbed.
That's a motion. Would anyone like to second that?
I'll second that, Janet.
Okay, can we have 5 minutes adjournment then? How can everyone access this email? Can you confirm who sent it out, please?
I've just sent it now.
Oh, have you?
I've got it.
Okay, thank you. I'll have a quick look. had our 5 minutes. Is everyone ready to come back into the meeting?
I think it's been longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's been 6 now.
You all right, Catherine?
Yeah.
You sure?
No,
Yeah.
she must be foolish.
Can we try and get through this meeting a bit quicker then? Because unfortunately Catherine's not very well at all, but she's very kindly agreed to come to the meeting tonight.
Right, Madam Mayor, would I like to take up where we left off then, please? Is it okay? Madam Mayor, is it okay for me to speak?
Yes. Sorry.
First of all,
Janet, Hillary, can we wait? Town clerk's
Yeah,
after
Clark's left.
the town clerk's left.
All right.
I'd love her.
She's
Will
really
it?
not well at all.
She might just be lying down. She was lying down in this afternoon's meeting.
Okay, so can we discuss the minutes then? You've read the minutes of the EGM to do with the environment.
I don't think you can proceed without the town.
We haven't got no one taking the minutes. Can you hold on a second? I'll just see if I can give her a ring.
Yeah.
She actually left the room. That's what I said. That's what I said.
Sorry, I did apologise. I never heard you say that. It's just we had a meeting with the Heritage Group this afternoon, and she was like,
Not well at all.
She's back.
Done well to last this long because it's a horrible.
You all right, Catherine?
If she's not well.
You sure? We'll try and get through this a bit more quickly. Has everyone had time to read those minutes? Are they happy with them? I can see
Point of
Miss
order,
Kelly.
please, Mayor.
I've just called your name, yes.
Point of thank you. Previous to the adjournment to read, there was a statement that town council staff were being picked on. It's the councillor's job to ensure the council is running. Giving advice is not picking on anybody.
I think there are times and places to do it, though, and a council meeting isn't it. And there are nice ways of doing it.
It was the appropriate time, and it was
Thank you very much. Can we go on to, I'm sorry, I don't know who was next, whether it was Councillor Rollo or Councillor Melton. Can I go to Councillor Rollo, please?
Yeah, my internet's in and out, and next door's drilling, so if I go, I go. In the budget that was set last year, there's £3,000 set for bus shelters, so we've just agreed the two. Can I ask where the money's coming from for that, please? Because obviously we didn't get a list of the finance, the reserves last year.
Okay, I can't answer a question on the reserves, Councillor Rollo, but I can answer the questions on the bush shelters there on that one. The 3,000 from this year and 3,000 from next year. Next year's budget is the 6, plus the 500 that's very kindly donated by Salterbeck residents there on that one. That's the 750. I haven't got the exact figures right in front of me. Just short of £2,000, which are coming from my Workington in Bloom budget. So that covers the whole cost of installation, etc. And there's also, as I say, some other fees to be taken off as well, which are not at hand at the moment. So
to clarify, we're using next year's budget as well, are we?
For the two, we've only agreed to build one bush shelter, to have one bush shelter a year. So that is for this year, the budget for 2021, and for the 21 to 22. So that's the 2 bush shelters. So we cannot have any more bush shelters for another 12 months. But the budget has gone for that So that's where it's come from, Councillor Rollo.
Councillor Melton was next. Councillor Melton? Councillor Heaslip then?
Sorry, Madam
Yeah.
Mayor.
Oh.
Right.
Sorry, Mike. My concern was for Catherine there.
Mm.
If she can't continue with the meeting, I think we should adjourn it.
No, I'm
Most
fine,
more
Sean.
important.
Honestly, yeah, I'll be all right. Thank you, though.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Heaslip.
I'm afraid, Madam Mayor, we still have a problem with the minutes. Again, there is a difference between a budget and authorisation to spend. A budget is your estimates of what you think you're going to spend. It isn't authorisation to spend it. Everything that you spend must be the subject of a resolution to spend money by the council. The minutes, which we've been asked to consider, don't specify an amount of money. They simply specify that we're going to proceed with the purchase of some bus shelters. But unless there's an amount of money being put before the council, which the council has approved, that money is not approved. So you could proceed with planning it, but you can't spend any money on the basis of these minutes because there's no figure mentioned in the minutes as the figure that you're approving the spending of. It's a very important point about local authority finance. A budgetary allocation is not authorisation to spend. There still needs to be an authorisation to spend.
We haven't.
That authorisation to spend
Would
is
Councillor
not
Harrington like
recorded
to
in the
reply
minutes.
to that?
Yes, I would actually. We have not spent the money yet, Councillor Heaslip. That is just the perception of where the money is coming from. We have £6,500, and there could be possibly another 5,000 from Allerdale. We haven't come to the final figures, as I pointed out before, of what the full exact amount will be yet. That money has not been spent yet.
So
Yes.
can I take it then that we'll be coming back to council with the exact figure before the spending is approved?
Most certainly, Councillor Heaslip, most certainly.
Thank you.
Councillor Scott.
Sorry, Chair, just confirm what Mike said there, because I would sincerely hope, as this is an Allerdale Borough Council asset, and that Allerdale Borough Council have pledged the money, that will be honoured, and the £5,000 that they are pledging will pay for the bus shelter. And that was all I was wanting to.
So, can we therefore approve, or can we have a seconder for, I don't know where we are now, March the 11th Environment Committee, and then there'll be, so that's the first set, I think. So it's Councillor Harrington, and who else would?
I'll second it.
Thank you. If everyone's agreed, those will be moved. I'm sorry, what was the date of the other meeting? I haven't got the printed copy.
26
March.
26. Can we have a seconder for that set, please?
Yeah.
Councillor Glaister.
Thank you. So if everyone's agreed, we'll move on to item 10, which is the Culture Committee. So we will receive the minutes of the Culture Committee meeting on 16th of March.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the minutes of the 16th of March for the Culture Committee. Thank you.
Can we have a seconder, please?
I'll second those, Janet.
Thank you. Are there any questions on that?
Councillor Cannon's got a hand up there.
Councillor Cannon.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to speak a little bit about the VE and VJ memorial statue, and clarify to begin with that my father is a veteran of the war against the Japanese. He actually got as far as Burma before the bombs were dropped. So I have a sort of interest in that. But I also am a bit concerned at the conversation that's been taking place about the beacon And I thought it might be useful if I actually explained something about it, because I think that people don't know. James Duffield is a former mayor of Workington, and in fact became an alderman. He is the man who brought the Dronfield Steelworks to Workington, and that came from Derbyshire, and he was the one who worked with Henry Bessemer on the Bessemer converter. He was born in 1833, so we're talking about a very elderly gentleman now. He was working in coal mines by the time he was 8, but he eventually came to manage the steelworks in Workington, and became one of the first mayors of this town, as also a justice of the peace. You will see his portrait hangs in the mayor's parlour in his alderman's robes. Back in 1991, I was on a visit to what was then the steelworks, Chorus Steel, and I asked them if they could build a beacon, because the council for several years was being asked to light beacons. The Queen often sets a beacon chain off in the country. We didn't have a beacon, and I spoke to the manager then of the steelworks, and he asked me to go down to the Scunthorpe Works and speak to the big chief. And we talked about James Duffield, a notable gentleman of our town. And they agreed to build the beacon, which isn't the basket on the top, it's the whole thing, and gift it to the people of Workington, just like Iggerson gift Christmas trees every year. And I'm a little bit concerned that this gift that was given to us by the steel company is going to be damaged, because it sounds like an act of vandalism to me. It was made out of steel rails that was made in our town by the apprentices, everything done at their expense. And we've been saying today how wonderful it is that companies have been donating stuff to the town council. And following planning permission, which was also done at their expense, they also had it transported at their expense. And since then, a housing estate has been named after James Duffield. And I seem to recall it was this town council that in a planning application asked them not to call it Newlands Estate or something, and to honour James Duffield, who used to live in the big house up there. I think they called it Ashfield House or something. But the other thing was, when they built that beacon, it was decided to put it into Vulcan Park, and that's another historic link. The mythical god Vulcan, of fire, volcanoes, metalworking, and the forge. It's not an accident that this statue was erected in Vulcan's Park. This was about our industrial heritage. And I think these days, and I'm sure Councillor Heaslip will correct me if I'm wrong, that there is an Act of Parliament starting to go through to protect things like this from desecration. There's been a lot of, you'll remember, in the press about the various statues that have been pulled down. I don't think you should be doing this. I think you should be honouring the steelworks and steelworkers of our town and finding a slightly better place for this other memorial. And I just feel it's a bit sad that councillors haven't been aware of this. And I'm surprised at Councillor Armstrong, whose parents lived in Jubilee cottages, steelworkers' cottages, that she would, maybe she didn't know this, but this is an important historical monument from the steelworks to the people of Workington, whose wealth in this town came from those works.
Thank you.
So I'd like to propose that you take it back to your committee and have another conversation about protecting that and looking at another site for the VE Day?
You asked us this question at the last council meeting, Councillor Cannon, and as I was the last person to light that beacon, we decided that the Duffield beacon, the basket's going to come down. The steel structure will still stay there, but this VJ statue, the committee have decided that's the best place for it. And
Carol, I was the last person to light that beacon to celebrate VE Day. The basket is not the beacon, it is the whole thing, the Duffield beacon, a monument to Duffield, and you are desecrating a statue and a gift to this town. Shame on you.
Councillor Armstrong, would you like to reply? Sorry.
No, there's no need to reply. I've expressed the fact that the committee have decided that, but we're not going to do away with. We will be utilising what we've got left and using it to take around and light it at various events.
Councillor Heaslip.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wasn't at VE Day or VJ Day, some of you will be surprised to learn. But I think VJ and VJ Day are sufficiently important for this town and the history of this country to be worth its own special separate monument, not trying to get a cheaper second-hand version by, as Councillor Cannon said, desecrating a memorial to the steel workers of Workington that was presented to the town. I think if that's what you're proposing, you're making a big mistake. The people of this town value the steel industry. They value the memory of it. They will not appreciate having the Duffield beacon vandalised or desecrated just to save a bit of money when you could actually go to the trouble of having a proper VE and VJ memorial erected, and for God's sake, leave the Duffield beacon alone. It was a present from the steelworks in memory of the steel workers of Workington, and what you're proposing to do is to desecrate it.
Here.
Thank you. That wasn't the intention. The idea was that the new statue would be ideally situated on top of that. The top of it isn't used anymore. The base of it will still be there. There are other steel structures in Workington, and we thought that that would make the best possible use of that base, because if we put a wooden statue down, it's likely to be vandalised. It's not a question of having a cheapo second-hand thing at all. It's making the best use of the assets that we have, and it is an asset, and we regard it as an asset.
The whole thing is the beacon. The whole thing. You are damaging a gift to the town. The whole thing is the beacon. And you have to get this into your heads, a lot of you. You are damaging a gift to this town. And you, Madam Mayor, were very quick to tell all of us to stop complaining about the state of a Christmas tree at Christmas, another gift to the town. You can't be choosing about gifts to the town. You are damaging the
We're not damaging anything.
Been lit, it's only because you've chosen not to light it.
No. It's people's opinions, that's all. And you keep saying it's a democracy, and it was a democratic decision.
It's a gift to the town that you are destroying. I shall take it further.
There have been other gifts to the town which haven't been looked after.
Yes, well, you had the chance to look after it.
No, not ours.
Yeah.
Right, thank you. Is there anything else on the Culture Committee? Because I think if we had a seconder, did we?
Yes, we did.
Sorry, thank you.
I've got a question, if I may. Madam Mayor.
Yes, one more question.
Question on Culture Committee, minute 19. 107. Should it be 19? Should be 21 107. I don't know. It says 19 107. The proposal for sports posts at Moor Close and at Harrington. Can I just clarify that they're going on council land?
Yeah, I go on council land.
Workington Town Council land?
No.
Well, whose land are they going on then?
It'll be Allerdale's, won't it? Because we've
Well, have you
got
asked them?
to put them on.
Well,
Could I
okay.
bring Councillor Armstrong, please?
Yes,
Yes,
Councillor
can I
Harrington.
put on this one, please?
Yes.
Yes.
The one at Harrington Marina has the permission from Allerdale Borough Council to support the previous football quite happily. So there's no need to apply to that again. I think Catherine has an email saying that.
Yeah.
They approve of this being recited.
And have we got permission for more close as well?
Yes.
Can I just come in there, Mayor? Yes, we've definitely got permission of Allerdale Borough Council with the 2 football projects. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, just checking. It's just as well if you're on other people's properties, just to make sure you're authorised to do it.
Thank you. Can we?
Permission has been granted for the replacement at Harrington and the ones at over at Moor Close.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, could I come in before we?
Yes, of course you can.
Is the meeting finished now?
No, I just want, well, that item agenda possibly has, sorry, agenda
Okay.
item.
Could I just say something, please?
Yes, please.
I can understand the political banter and fight there on that one, but what I don't understand is blaming our paid staff. And I do feel, as all councillors, we should work together to make Workington Town Council to be proud of through our paid staff, especially our new clerk. Thank you, Madam Mayor, for allowing me to speak. Thank you.
Our paid staff do a great job. It's a shame that some of you councillors try to hide behind them and divert blame for things onto them.
Please stop this toing and froing and political stuff. You keep saying it's non-political, but every time that's what it comes down to.
I'm not making a political comment. I'm making a personal comment as I see it.
Councillor Heaslip.
That's not a political comment.
Thank you, Councillor Heaslip. If we have no employment issues, I'd like to call an end to the meeting and thank you all very much for attending.
Right,
Good night.
thank you.
Keep safe. Thank you.